Parliament has completed 99% of the work on the Right to Information Bill. The House is assuring it will be passed in the next few days following completion of consideration. The bill has been in and out of Parliament for over a decade. Joseph Obokugakpo has more.
Parliament has completed 99.9% of the work on the Right to Information Bill, and it's actually ready for approval. Well, the bill has 91 clauses. They are done amending and considering all of it. But one controversial issue came up which has stalled possible approval. There was a proposed amendment from the MP for Suhum, Frederick Operiansa, who wants a situation where even after the president assents the bill that Parliament will pass, it will take up to a year before its full implementation can be seen.
And this suggests that time is indeed required for institutions to prepare adequately to meet the requests that will come from the public in respect of granting them access to information. And that is why I did not say that after the House has passed this bill and the President has assented to it, the entire bill should stand suspended for 12 months. It is only in respect of putting in requests so that that 12 months, as even stipulated in Section 3, will be granted to institutions to be able to prepare adequately to meet this request.
Hold on. The minority is kicking against this particular proposed amendment. They think it's an indication that the majority side of the House and also government in general is not committed to implementing the RTI bill. They want the implementation to commence immediately after it's passed into law.
What do we think that the executive is not ready? Unless the executive is communicating with the majority members of this House which we don't know.
To what exactly? To stall the approval for the
bill?
That is
I think that's the intention of the bill. Because look, the intention of the amendment. Because why? Why will you? We are not Britain. Okay? We are operating a written constitution. The information has been generated.
But the president has repeatedly said he's committed to getting this passed speedily. The vice president has made the point. So why would they want to connive with the majority to introduce this amendment and stall the implementation of the bill, you say?
Well, why would they want to do that?
Why would they? Because they repeatedly...
If I refuse, deny, or in any way make it impossible for the public to access information immediately upon the passage of the bill into law, then I somehow maintain the status quo for one whole year.
But the chairman of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament, Ben Abdallah Banda, insists government is not sponsoring the proposed amendment. He is insisting government is committed to getting it passed as soon as possible.
Fact, and the most important thing is that at the end of the day and ultimately, this bill is going to see the light of day. The stage that we've gotten to amounts to the bill, about 90% or 99% of the bill being, completed. What we are left is just an opinion of a member of parliament, and that member of parliament is entitled to his opinion.
No. It's the opinion of the member.
I'm coming. What I'm saying, you see, what I'm saying is that it is not out of place for a member of parliament to suggest a commencement date.
So government is not sponsoring this.
Which government? Which government? To say that government to say that government is conspiring with a member or members of parliament is to be completely unfair to the government of the day, because in any case the government of the day, you see, the government of the day has demonstrated enough good faith and commitment to ensure that this bill sees the light of the day, and ultimately that is what we are witnessing.
Now we all have to wait. The leadership of the House is expected to consider and come to a decision on how exactly they should treat the provision that has to do with what duration after which the bill will be implementable after it's passed into law. From Parliament House in Accra, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo reporting.
There was drama in Parliament on Wednesday, with some members of the House having to physically restrain Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejapong, who exchanged insults with the Soase MP Muntaka Mubarak. Kennedy Ejapong confronted Muntaka Mubarak for filing a complaint of contempt of Parliament against him. The two exchanged verbal insults ahead of sitting until some majority MPs walked out Kennedy Ejapong. NPP MP for Asantachim North, Andy Apiakobe, is asking leadership of Parliament to take up the issue and resolve the conflict between the two legislators.
Repeatedly, it's becoming a combat between two people, which suggests to me that there's more to it than debate on the House. And therefore, I implore the leadership of the House to investigate the matters between them and try and find a way to resolve the personal interests and personal sentiments and the personal animosity and acrimony that is showing in the impasse in the House. And the repetitiveness of their competitive, or no, it's not even competitive, the repetitiveness of their conflict is that which is worrying. It's okay if people can disagree and they can raise their voice. That's fine, once in a while. But if it's happening between two identified people all the time, then it means a cause for concern.
In fact, this morning, it almost got physical, yeah, too.
I didn't see it, but I didn't see the scene. I wasn't there. But I have been told that it wasn't pleasant. And because of that, I will urge the House to take some issue out of that. Because it is not once, it's not twice, it's getting out of hand.
So that then, is Privileges Committee the best place to resolve some of these matters, you think? Or that's probably why it's not worked in terms of resolving it all alone?
Well, it's not so much of Privileges Committee, it's so much of leadership sitting two of them down. You see, punishment comes in various forms. Even a finger, say don't go and sin no more, it's one form of punishment. Or embrace each other, it's another form of punishment. Or sit down, let's talk to you, it's another form of punishment. So for me, leadership must first and foremost call them, the two of them, to order. And let's see them working together more and more.
Dr. Rashid Rahman is Executive Director of the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs, and he's joining us via Skype. Thank you very much, Doc. Now, I hope you have seen the video of the two MPs involved in the brawl earlier. How parliamentary is this conduct? Hello, Dr. Rashid. If you can hear me, I'd like to find out what you make of this brawl in Parliament. We have lost Dr. Rashid, but we will be getting him back on the line to get to hear his views about this brawl that happened in Parliament on Wednesday. You're watching Joy News Prime. Let's take a break. We'll be back in a bit more. Speaker of Parliament Michael Quay has described as unfortunate claims linking the killing of investigative journalist Ahmed Hussein Swale to journalism. He says members of Parliament must wait for the outcome of police investigations into the incident before drawing conclusions. Kumungu MP Ras Mubarak read a statement on the floor of the House expressing concern about the death. A caution by former Deputy Interior Minister James Agalga that the death could affect Ghana's press freedom ranking was disputed by the Speaker. Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah expressed concern linking the death to journalism could affect Ghana's international reputation. We're sorry we're unable to bring you that clip, but we'll try and get it to you later. But moving on, and all is set for the Ayawaso West Wogong by-election, which is hours away. 4 candidates from the MPP, NDC, PPP and LPG are contesting the election. Last week, the NDC raised concerns about an alleged bloated register the Electoral Commission wanted to use for the by-election, but the EC in a response says that is untrue. Right, so they issued a statement, and I'll share that statement with you. It says, the attention of the Electoral Commission has been drawn to a press release issued by the NDC alleging bloating of the register for the Ayawaso Wogong constituency ahead of the by-election on Thursday, January 31, 2019. In the said release, the NDC indicates that its attempts to access the proxy list, transfer list, and special voters list have yielded no results. This is untrue. The NDC requested a copy of the said lists late on Friday, January 25, 2019, when the activities at the Commission had winded down. It is significant to note that the author of the press release has unlimited access to the chairman responsible for operations and could have reached him without much effort. Letters of such nature go through a process of recording at the registry before they are brought to the attention of the addressees. Requests for confidential information require the approval of the chairperson or deputy chairpersons before same are released. Whilst the Commission believes in responding in a timely manner to requests from the political parties, it will not compromise its processes and lay down systems for an entity. The Commission finds it surprising that rather than approaching the Commission to discuss this issue, the NDC chose to go public, accusing the Commission of bloating the register to favor a political party. These allegations are baseless and unfounded, and we call on the public to disregard them. It goes to say the wish to assure the public that the Ayawaso Wogong register is clean. Let's listen now. My colleague Kwesi Parker Wilson has been speaking with the Greater Accra Regional Director of the EC, who says all is set for Thursday's by-election. 137 polling centres and 88,710 voters are expected to participate in the exercise. He also denied claims by the NDC that the voters register for the conduct of the by-election is bloated.
So far, everything is on course. We have secured all the election materials. We have finished training the polling staff. So we expect that everything will run smoothly, and we hope to start everything on time at exactly 7 a.m. at all the 137 polling stations that we are going to use. So that will be it.
I know that some of the political parties were raising concerns about the voters register. Has that come to attention? How have you been able to resolve that issue? Yes,
when it comes to issue of voters register, that one is handled by our personnel at the head office. So they handled everything, and I'm sure that they have addressed all the issues that they have raised. And so far, what we have said, we haven't identified anything wrong with the registered voters that we have received.
You not identified anything wrong?
Yes. So
you said, the register is bloated, over 1,000 names.
And not at all. I can show you the list right now for you to have a look at it. There's nothing of that sort. There's nothing of that sort. No bloating anywhere.
And you've explained that to the NDC?
And I'm saying that when I met them at the RAPAC meeting, at my level, I explained everything to them, and they understood it.
So I'm sure our viewers would be interested to know the kind of explanation you give to the NDC, because apparently it appears they're not satisfied with the current state of the voters register.
At the RAPAC meeting, it wasn't any issue that they specifically raised there, but we told them the number of voters we should expect at every polling station, and then we give them the list of the various polling stations that we are going to use. Okay. Yes, so nobody raised an issue specifically that a specific polling station has been bloated. We didn't have anything of that sort at the meeting.
So in all, how many voters are we expecting in tomorrow's exercise?
We are expecting 88,710 voters and 10 across the 137 polling stations.
And finally, I know you'll be using BVDs and all of that. I mean, are the machines in good shape?
Yes, enough preparation has been made. There are those in the boxes, and then we're going to assign 2 BVDs per center. Okay. So in case the one being used is 40, there's a backup. And even aside that, we also have a backup at the district offices. So I don't think we have any issue with the BVDs.
All right, so let's take a look at the candidates who are contesting this by-election. There are 4 of them. We have the NPP. Well, let's start with the NDC. So we have Delali Kwesi Brimpong, who's contesting on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress. He contested the late MP in 2016 and lost the 2016 election by over 10,000 votes. He's the owner of Early Pharmacy, and there's a third time he's contesting the Ayawaso West Wugong constituency. We also have William Kofi Dookbo. He's contesting on the ticket of the Progressive People's Party, a former leading member of the Convention People's Party. He's a managing consultant at Advocacy Communications. He studied at GIJ and University of Ghana Business School. And he's also contesting the seat for the 3rd time. There's Clement Bwedi, who's contesting on the ticket of the Liberal Party of Ghana, or LPG. He's the current national youth organizer of the Liberal Party of Ghana, and he works at Brew Marketing Consult. He's contesting the seat for the very first time. And then there's also Lydia Seyram Al-Hassan, who's a spouse of the late MP. She's contesting on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party, CEO of Limens Medical Supplies. She's a board member. She's a board member of Minerals Commission, Vice Chair, Pharmaceutical Importers and Wholesalers. I've been joined in the studio now by head of the political desk, Evans Spencer. Hello, Evans. Now,
hello, Israel.
Let's have what do we see going on tomorrow as far as this by-election is concerned?
I mean, so from the top, who might win this? History says the MPP should win this quite comfortably. And I say that because if you look at the history of Ayawaso West Wuogon in terms of its parliamentary elections since 1996. The NPP has held that seat since 2000. And in fact, if you look at, they've been fluctuating in terms of their percentage and their performance. However, the last 2 elections, they've seen an upturn in terms of a significant leap in the percentage performance. So let's look at 2012. 2012, the NPP won that seat with 50% of the votes.
Right.
However, if you move to 2016, Emmanuel Chemante Jacko won that seat by 57%. That's a significant, that's 7 percentage points leap.
He contested in 2012.
Yeah, he contested exactly. He contested in 2012 as well.
So he put a much better performance than 2012.
Yes, significant improvement. 2000, that's the first time they held that seat. They had 56% of the votes. 2004, they had 52%. In 2008, they had 48% of the votes. The NDC, on the other hand, held it in 1996. That's quite some time back. And so history says the NPP should win this. However, this is not your usual election. This is a by-election. Nobody planned for this because the MP died, and so we have an election. And that brings with it its own unique
peculiarities.
Factors. Yeah. Exactly. One is you might not have the same turnout.
The voter turnout
might drop.
Typically is not the same as a general election.
Might drop. Secondly, which is also very important, is that because of the uniquely how concentrated that area is in terms of tertiary institutions. There's a significant concentration of tertiary institutions in the Yawaso West Wagga.
UPSA.
You have UPSA, you have University of Ghana. You also have Radford University, which is on the Lagos Avenue Road. You have, I think, Leicester University or so that is also there, and significant other universities that are situated within that enclave. Now, that plays a role. University of Ghana alone and UPSA, the two huge ones, have huge numbers. However, they are on break. Tomorrow is supposed to be the date for resumption, but we all know what happens when the first day of resumption of school. Nobody comes in with their numbers. And so that will affect both parties, because remember that both of them have party wings on campuses that they use to galvanize. So if school was in full session, that would have meant a lot, because there are thousands and thousands of students who register and vote there. Yeah. So this will affect the outcome as well. Also, because is the uniqueness of the timing of this by-election is significant that we shouldn't ignore. It's coming at the time. It's almost exactly 2 years since the MPP took office. Almost exactly 2 years. 7th January. It's just 2-3 weeks away, right? And so this is going to be a referendum on how they perform. Exactly, in the last 2 years. The reason why the Ayawaso West Wagga constituency is a very good constituency to do a test of the MPP's performance is because of its demographic and dynamics. We have a super rich there, the upper class, you have the middle class, and you also have the very, very poor, those guys who live below the poverty line. Yeah. All of them live in that enclave. And so if you go there, you go to the East Legon, you're talking about the very, very super rich upper class guys. And then you move to places, going towards where you live, you know where you live. I mean, so away from East Legon, the Bonglo and all those areas, you find middle class people, not so rich. And then you have the Bawaleshis, where you find those who live below the poverty line, just around the poverty. Even in East Legon, you notice that line is there. The super rich are living almost side by side, the poor guys.
One side of the street and then the other side.
Literally. So that is a very perfect constituency to do that measure. And the poll is in that constituency. No wonder, yesterday the president was there to campaign, the vice president was there to campaign, the chief of staff, who by the way used to be the MP for the area, was also there to campaign. And yesterday, for example, the national organizer has said that the members of parliament, the ministers, are going to be polling agents in the constituency. Yes, and so it's a very interesting poll, and the results will mean a lot for this government, but also for the NDC.
But let's look at the candidates for the MPP is putting up, and there are people who are saying that there'll be a lot of sympathy votes going in her favor. There's a spouse, Lydia Hassan, the spouse of the late MP, and that people would say, well, that's the spouse of the late MP, and so let's give it to her.
However, I doubt if for a constituency like that will be such a significant factor, because the guys who live there, middle class, upper class guys, middle class, the floating voters, guys who are not they don't put their vote on autopilot, so to speak. I doubt if they will just vote for you because the incumbent MP is your whatever.
Now, at the end of the day, typically for most by-elections, it depends on how or who's able to rally their supporters to go out there to vote. Yeah. And I believe it's going to play out in this one.
Significantly. So already tonight, the accusations that the MPP are boxing people from wherever to come and vote. I checked that with the national organizer live on radio, and he says, well, what's wrong with that? I mean, if schools are on vacation, and our supporters are both students of UPSA and University of Ghana and the other tertiary institutions there, and we want to facilitate their movement to come and vote, there's nothing wrong with that. The NDC says, listen, we are vigilant, and so we are also bringing in our people to come and police the poll. So yes, that is very important. Right. Whoever manages to galvanize their base to go and vote might win. But I guess one of the quick things I want to say is the NPP is most likely to win. However, the percentage of the even if they win, we're going to look at the margin. If they drop from the 47 and a significant drop, that then becomes an issue. You can start, wow, what has happened over 2 years? So that's also, so whether they win or lose, They want to win and still...
There'll be a lot of food for thought.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Evan Sensor. He's head of our political desk here at Joy News. We're taking a break to bring you business news. We're still ahead in the bulletin. The five-year-old boy whose arm was terribly damaged after suffering severe cutlass wounds inflicted by their stepmother is said to be doing well after the arm was amputated Wednesday morning. We have the details coming up. The parents of a 5-year-old boy whose arm was amputated due to cutlass wounds inflicted on him by the stepmother have been remanded by a magistrate court in the Central Region. The suspect, Ifwa Abadua, was arraigned before the district magistrate court of Eburedunkwa, Kwamankese, on a provisional charge of causing harm, and she was remanded into prison custody until February 14, 2019. Also arrested in connection with the case is the father of the victim, 36-year-old David Mensah, who has also been remanded into prison custody by the same court to reappear on the same date after he was provisionally charged with the offense of abetment of crime. Meanwhile, the victim has successfully undergone operation on the hand at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital and is currently on admission for further checks. Here's a report by Richard Kodjonyako.
We are here at the recovery ward at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, where Isaac, the 5-year-old boy, got his left hand amputated. Doctors say they've been highly successful with the operation. The hand, right to the elbow, was affected in this operation. Now this is how it all started. Isaac, a KG2 pupil, is said to have defecated on the floor. Her stepmom, Ifwa Abedua, protested and, as a way of punishing him, attacked him with a machete. Isaac's left hand was eventually cut, but the stepmom refused to care for him. The hand started decomposing. Two good Samaritans saw him in a terrible state while he was accompanying his stepmom to the farm in his current condition. Isaac was eventually brought to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, but doctors here needed the consent of the parent for his arm to be amputated. Ifwa Abedua, his stepmom, was arrested, wrote her statement with the police admitting she caused the harm to the boy. The father of the boy on Tuesday surfaced at the hospital to sign the consent form. He did indeed sign, but was picked up by the police shortly thereafter. The hand was amputated in the early hours of Wednesday. Isaac now lays here innocently, sleeping the pains away. He is now awake and attempts to lift his hand for the first time after the surgery. We have been speaking with the medical social worker here at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, Felicia Tete, and she is asking for support, financial support, because the boy needs to get back to school, and at least if the general public would help in getting the boy some prosthetic hands, it will be in order.
Just a sad story, but we are still liaising with our district social worker officers to solicit for funds so that philanthropists can come in, because we are still soliciting for funds. As for the mother, we don't even know the whereabouts, so we still need support from philanthropists so that we can all come together as a team and support this child financially. Financially, social welfare, we are handicapped. We don't have money for that, but we are trying our best. So we are pleading with the public that if God touches their heart and they want to support this child, their hands are open. And our doors are open to welcome them.
What kind of support beyond the financial support would you play, or would you require that these children, the child is taken?
We will liaise with the district social worker to contact any of the relatives. First, we make sure the child will be enrolled into school. After this thing has been settled, then we'll see how best financially we can assist. We have policies that we can use to support this child. So we are still, but all we need is a distant relative that will entrust the child into his care for now. Then we see the child is okay, then we will see the way forward.
I have been speaking with the district police commander, DSP Paul Akonde. He confirms that the two, the father of the child and then the stepmom of the child, are still in their custody. Richard Kodjonyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
There's another angle to this story which we will be sharing with you. The Registrar of the Ghana Medical and Dental Council, Dr. Eli Atikwe, says a case against Dr. Dominic Obeng-Ando has been relisted with trial tentatively set for February 5. Speaking at a news conference in Accra, Dr. Atikwe debunked media reports suggesting the council reneged on its responsibility to avail itself in court, describing the claims as misleading, mischievous and untrue. He also stated the last check by the Medical and Dental Council on January 5 revealed Dr. Obeng-Ando was still operating. Owner of the Advanced Bodies Call Center was dragged to an Accra Circuit Court for operating a health facility and practicing medicine without lawful authority, but was recently discharged for want of prosecution.
We were informed, or my team that went to court was informed that the case had been adjourned to 29th of January 2019. Just to be told that the date was rescheduled for the 23rd and that the decision was taken that the case has been struck off for want of prosecution. Or as we had indicated, the number of times our team was in court, unfortunately, the accused was not there. Now it has come out that the complainant never showed up in court since the case was started. And I was surprised to have read, a statement like that. The Medical and Dental Council is a responsible institution and will never renege on its duty in ensuring that Ghanaians are safe. And then they hold high the object of the council, which states that we are to secure in the public interest the highest standards in the practice and training of medicine and dentistry in Ghana. 5th of January, it was opened. We are saying, and I continue to reiterate, that Dr. Dominic Obeng-Ando has no valid license to practice medicine in Ghana. And therefore, when you go there to seek for care, you do so at your own risk. The padlocks were broken. I mean, that is the information that I received. For the 3 occasions, the padlocks were broken. If for whatever reason an individual decides not to abide by the rules, we, as I said, are not the agents to enforce, or we are not the law enforcing agencies. So we hand over that for the appropriate institutions to take care.
The Pantang Hospital here in Accra has begun discharging new mothers 6 hours after delivery as dusty roads around the facility increase fears of respiratory infections in babies born there. The hospital says international best practice demands that a healthy baby stays for at least 24 hours for observation. But doctors at the hospital are worried long periods of exposure to dust could lead to infections in the new babies. In the following report, Nancy Emefadradozi tells the story of how new mothers and their babies are coping with the situation.
The dust from the rutted and almost impassable road leading to one of Ghana's biggest mental health facilities presents a daily nightmare here. Everywhere in this hospital has been battered by dust. The floors, computers and even baby cots have been covered in dust.
All our bedsheets are brown now. They are white, but because of the dust, we don't lay them unless we have a client, then we lay them. The whole place is dusty. We, the staff here, we always report there. It's either you are having chest pain, it's either you are having cold or the respiratory tract infection. If you go to OPD right now, it's stopping.
According to doctors, healthy full-term babies can usually go home from the hospital sometime between 24 and 48 hours after birth. But here at Pantine, nurses are forced to discharge the babies within the first 6 hours after delivery.
If you have a baby here, a 1-day-old baby, a newborn here, and all this dust, it will cause them respiratory infections. We normally discharge them after 6 hours if everything is okay.
Doris Darko had a rough ride to this facility when her water broke this morning.
I really suffered. It wasn't an easy ride to the hospital this morning. I couldn't even open my mouth to take in air because the entire road is so dusty.
This is the road at the Pantine Hospital, and guess what? All this dust is going to one place, very, very close to the maternity block here at the Pantine Hospital, where Madame Doris is sleeping with her newly born baby that was born just about 5 to 6 hours ago. She delivered at 8:30 a.m. and already she's getting ready to leave the facility with her newborn baby Abena. This really disturbs Doris.
I was even complaining because they want to discharge me this early. What if I get home and realize my child is not fully fit? I would have to travel through this dust again.
There have been efforts in the past to get the roads fixed, but according to Director for the Pantine Hospital, Dr. Frank Benin, the contractor working on the project has not been on the site for a few months now.
I must say that urban roads have been good to us in the past. Our internal road network wasn't meant to be part of the original work that is ongoing. We discussed with them and they were flexible enough to add our internal road networks to it. Since we saw that the work has stopped, we've tried reaching them to find out, what is going on. And they keep telling us it will be done this year. So why it hasn't been done, we haven't been told, but at least we continue to get assurance that something will be done about it. The contractor who started it, yes, we've engaged them. They used to be around here. They had their vehicles at the gate, and they have the chippings at the entrance as well. And we engaged them, and they keep telling us they are still engaging government, and then the work will be done. But as to the reason why the works have stopped, I don't know.
For as long as the roads at Pantine Hospital remains dusty and untarred, healthcare delivery at the facility will continue to take a big hit. Nancy Emefa Jadosi, Joy News.
Now return to our earlier story on the 5-year-old boy who has been amputated after he suffered severe cutlass wounds. The social welfare unit at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital is appealing for financial and other forms of support for the boy. Social protection specialist at the Gender and Social Protection Ministry, Richard Ejete, is calling for a second look at the current family system practiced in Ghana so as to check child abuse. He believes advocacy needs to be intensified at the community level where child abuse is prevalent. Richard Ejete spoke earlier on the pod.
For my ministry as well as the department to strengthen our advocacy on the standard that address this child abuse and neglects, we need to strengthen the advocacy. And then again, we need to increase our engagements and dialogue with the families at the community level for them to understand the dangers involved in this abuse. That is one of the critical things currently we need to do, because this has been a wake-up call, and there might be other vulnerable children who are going through these challenges, but parents are not aware about standards, they are not aware about the engagement, they are not about the implication of abusing your child at the family level. So we need to do that. And then also we need to strengthen the current welfare and family systems that we have at the Department of Social Welfare. At the
we really
need to strengthen it, because basically those who are quite in the middle class and upper parts are more familiar with the standards. But at the community level, where poverty level is so high, vulnerability is so high, and the illiteracy level is so high, we find it very difficult to understand some of these standards as well as the implications.
Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council says it will set a date for the opening of the KJTR market only when traders vacate access roads to vehicular traffic, or all the arterial roads to the project site are taken over illegally for commercial activities. The traders defied an order by authorities to eject them for a mock rehearsal of the opening ahead of Christmas. The RCC is now pleading with them to leave to allow vehicular access. Naya Ojima has more in the following report.
Over 30 satellite markets built on private-public partnership arrangements remain unused or partly occupied in Kumasi. Traders rather prefer to operate on the streets, especially at Kejetia and the central business districts of Edum, leaving the city congested. City Mayor Osei Esibe Entry reiterates the Assembly's willingness to find space for all traders.
So all the 34 markets are ready and the people have opened their hands. They've opened their ways for all those who are interested to come in. And anyone who have any problem accessing any of these markets, if it's about Swami, you can contact the MC there. If it's about Tafo, just contact the MC there. If it's at Tunsu, contact the MC there. Because we want all the market to be fully operational.
All 4 roads leading to the newly constructed Kejetia market have been closed to traffic for over a year to allow for undisrupted work and public safety. Opening them to traffic is one of the hurdles to make the new facility operational, as potential owners and occupants of shops are left in uncertainty. Regional Minister Simon Osei Mensah reveals a date to be announced for the opening when the traders move out.
We intend to give ourselves about between 2 weeks and 1 month to observe after the reopening before we can announce the final reopening of the project. We want to see how smoothly the reopening of the roads will go before we fix the exact date for reopening of the Kejetia project.
Mr. Osei Mensah says a partial decongestion exercise will be undertaken to force recalcitrant traders out, though he will not tell how.
But these areas we are going to decongest now, I can assure you, you won't allow anybody to come back. Is a very bad general that will go to war and come and sit in public and put all the strategies outside. But what I'm saying is it won't happen.
Nana Ojima reporting.
Students in junior and senior high schools across the country will from now on be giving extra lessons on sex. The idea is to intensify efforts for dealing with child marriages, teenage pregnancy, and sexually transmitted diseases. The Ghana Education Service and the Health Ministry are partnering UNESCO to ensure the success of the program. Faustina Safa attended the launch. Here's her report.
For most teenagers, sex is a word they first heard from friends, in biology class, or scrolling through the internet. This is mainly because most parents shy away from the topic. With a recent surge in teenage pregnancies and increase in sexually transmitted diseases amongst adolescents, it has become necessary to teach children about sex. The government of Ghana, in collaboration with UNESCO, has launched a program dubbed Our Rights, Our Lives and Our Future to scale up sexual education in second cycle institutions across the country. Here's Minister for Education, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe.
The subject of sexuality education has become a very important matter, particularly for the youth in our societies. Indeed, the changing societal context, characterized by the free flow of information, media pluralism, and the social media, has necessitated the need for education systems to provide accurate information of sexuality education. We in Ghana have a guideline that I've shared with you that we see it is imperative if this nation should develop that sexuality education should be part of the curricula that we would launch this year in September, all the way from kindergarten to senior high school.
Commending the initiative, Minister for Health Kwekwajima Menu pledged his unflinching support for the program.
Investing in girls and women, especially in reproductive health, education, and preventing child marriage is key to Ghana's demographic transition. That is why the introduction of the O3 program in Ghana by UNESCO, through funding by the Swedish government, is a welcoming idea.
Sub-Saharan Africa is currently home to 158 million young people between the ages of 15 to 24. According to UNESCO, that number is expected to double by 2050. Ms. Audrey Azoulay, Director General of UNESCO, stressed the need to invest in the youth to secure Africa's future.
We are here today because we know that Africa's youth are its future and most precious resource. That is why Agenda 2063 for the Africa we want places youth at the center of regional and national development efforts and recognizes that development must make the most of a growing population. This demographic dividend represents tremendous potential, but risks being derailed if we do not address barriers to young people's health and education.
Faustina Safo, Joe News, Accra.